for those students of mine, either online, at home, or at the conservatorium, there is 10 easy and essential jazz chords course somewhere. But you know, this is for people that already know the main, I want to play jazz, but I can already play my bar chords. So this is sort of this is for people that have started dabbling into the intermediate towards advanced, and this is going to be how to make extended jazz chords with the 10 main shapes. This is where it applies. I'm talking to one of my students at the moment who's filming this. This is where it applies to you. So, you know, on this string you have major 7 to 7, minor 7, half diminished. And on the A string we have major 7, 7, or a 3-note 7 shape, minor 7, half diminished, and full diminished 7. We also had full diminished 7 on the E string. So they were like, whatever note that is, they're a movable chord shape. If you haven't got them, check them out on however. Write to me, I'll show you where. Because this is what this video is about. If you haven't got them, this is what you need, okay? Now, so also you might want to check out or read up on your naming chords theory, which is another little blog you and me were talking about, which you've done and you know, but you may need a refresher on, I don't know. So, this is how to turn, you know, how if you know a major 7 and a 7 and a minor 7 and all this, how do you know when to play a 9, when to play a flat 9, or sorry, if the chart says, or the person who's written the song, or the jazz, you know, this is a jazz thing, right? So firstly, we'll start with the E string shapes. So if I have, there's a C7, doesn't matter what it is, it could be A7, wherever I put it, that's a 7 chord. That's the basic most 1, flat 7, 3, 5, there's my muted string, right? Now a lot of people, you can play all of those notes, I just played like that, meaning this would be an incorrect note with the bar, so you have to put that down, and there you go there. Now this is your 9. So that's a 9. That would be C9. It's not called C7-9, it's just called C9 because, and that's another lesson. This would be C sharp 9. Some people, Hendrix used to do it like this, because that's another flat 7, so it's not a wrong note, it's still C sharp, you know, C7 sharp 9. People do call it C7 sharp 9, altered chord. Yeah? Some people, now this one, if you've got a pick, you won't, there's your flat 9 from the way I said the chord, so you'd have that. So some people might use a thumb, right? Some people don't, some people can squash it in there like this and miss. Also, if you, even on a classical jazz level, I've been told by a Carnegie Hall playing great master that is sort of acceptable, you know, in sort of classical jazz to stagger the strum of it. But obviously this is an incorrect note. So that's from that shape. Now because this is my root note, if that was my 9, that means this is A minor 9. Because there's my minor 7, there's my 9. Right? That would be, this is called, sorry, not A, C. That'd be A if it's here. This would be C major 9. Once again, I'm going to use my thumb. Because there's my 9, it's the major 7 shape, and there's my 9. Got it? Making sense? Yep. This is, once again, everyone, my student is filming this, and this is for him. This is stuff he already knows, but it's a little bit of a refresher course. So, that's all your 9s. I'm going to just keep on the E string. So we had, you don't really see a diminished 7, 9, you know, blah, blah, blah. You don't really see a few other things. There are minor major 7s, the suspensions and stuff that we're not going to talk about too much because that's for people that have gone a little bit further. Like I say, write me an email, check out the video on naming chords and chord theory. So, you know, if this is my 1, flat 7, 3, 5, there's a suspension there because my 3 goes up. Suspension or sus means, you know, 4 instead of 3. So that's a suspended 9. You know, major 7, suspended 9. Never really seen one of them, and I spent a couple of years of reading jazz charts for a job. You know, obviously minors aren't suspended because the 3rd's flat and it's a flat 3, you know. So there's our 9s. Now, if you're in a band and you're playing, say, this major 9, you don't have to put your thumb over there. I've done it with heaps of double bass players and some of Australia's really, you know, noted jazz musicians. If you're in a band and someone's doing the bass, you can just play that. You know what I mean? You don't have to sort of do the whole thing. you probably those sounds I'm making now might even start sounding like, oh, that jazz thing you've heard, right? I've very rarely seen it. The 13. So we got 5. You know, there's our 1, 5, flat 7, 3, 5. So the 5 goes up to a 6. Now that is a 13 only because it's above the flat 7. So that is C13. Right? And a lot of people like this, especially with some of these older jazz guitars, you know, that people like that extra note in there. You know? It gives a bit of a rhythmic pulse, but that's another story. So that's our 13 from that. Obviously, you could do a major 13 if you want. Haven't seen that much. You know what I mean? Normal 13. So I'm actually doing the muted string there, muting it with my root note finger. Yep. So we've got that's our 9 and our 13 in general from the E string, right? We got a major 13. We had a minor 9, a major 9, and a 9. The major 9 is a major 7 chord. And the 9 is a 7 chord. A 7 chord has a flat 7, not a natural 7. So now moving a little bit still on the E string stuff. Then we had sharps and flat 9s in there too. On the 7, I didn't really do them on the minors because it's really not that common, I haven't seen it. Then, so, you know, we know we've got, this is our basic fingerings and people can, you know, bar them. You know, that was our 7, we've made a bar there like that, right? What happens if we have a 7 flat 5? We use this note like we do it. Some people play the minor 7 like that with the muted thing. Like this is the minor 7 I think I used for the 9. I might have used that actually in this video for the 9. So we know that, you know, you can use that. So if this is my 7 and this is my 5, I can go like that. 7 flat 5. Obviously, if someone wanted a 7 flat 5 sharp 9 or 7 flat 5 9, you're not going to be playing a bass, you know. But that does, and once again, if people want that, it's possibly an arranger and you've got trumpets and all sorts of stuff in your band playing lots of thick chords that, you know, you're just being a rhythm, part of the rhythm section, which is your job. So, blah, blah, blah. Now the same note there and the same root note, we have our major 7, we can go major 7, sharp 11. Major 7, sharp 11 is quite a jazz chord. Obviously you'd use a Lydian scale for it. But anyway, that's, once again, here's our major 7, that's our 5. So that's a sharp 4, right? 8, 9, 10, 11, sharp 11. And it's only a sharp 11 because it's above this, which is our major 7, right? Same as that 13, it's only a 13 because it's above our flat 7. Cool? Yeah. Now, quickly, we're moving on to the A string. So we've done everything in C, I'll do it in C down here. Now, we'll start with our more common ones. We can play a 7 chord like this, and we can play a 7 chord like this, which is 3 notes. This is our 9 here. So that's our sharp 9. So that's our 9 with the little finger. Right? Sharp 9, flat 9. Using the bar. Yep. Makes sense? Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, we can use this same shape. Instead of using this minor 7 shape here or a minor shape from our C, we can use this shape, drop the 3rd. Now we have 1, flat 3, flat 7. That's just a jazz triad. So that is like, you know, effectively a C minor 7, and now we can have a C minor 9. And then we had it up here. Right, so C minor 9. The same shape. That's 1, 3, flat 7, so we can raise the 3rd fret G string up to the 4th fret. Then we have this, and there's our 9. Now we have a major 9, because that's the 2 above the natural 7. So 9, major 9, minor 9. Yep.
Sweet.
Now, we have, with the same shape, you can actually just put this in the chord if you want, if you were just playing a 7 chord, because that's the 5th of C. That's a G, so that's the 5th. So now we can have our sharp 5. I'm muting this with that finger, but it doesn't matter, you know, once you're getting up there like that. We can have our, you know, flat 5. Now with the flat 5, sometimes you're going to have a flat 9 in there. I don't know, people do that, right? But, you know, you know, that's... unless it's written dots on a real arranged chart, it is, jazz is an impro art after all, right? So now we can look at that. We had our 5 and we talked about the major 7 chord having a sharp 11 off the E string. So that was our flat 5. So we could do it like that, you know, but it's quite tricky. What we do is this is our major 7 shape from the A string. Once again, I will iterate that this is for people that already know those 10 basic jazz shapes. So we do that, right? When we were playing on this string, when we were doing the sort of the 1, 3, then the 7 version. So we've got this is 1, 5, 7, and 3. So we can leave this out, play those two, like with those, and that's, right? And that's sort of, that effectively, I've got that muted with my root note. That is effectively is like that. It's with that muted, right? And now I can add my flat 5, which is now at major 7 sharp 11. Common in jazz. So with that combination of all of that, you can stop and rewind this video whenever you want. But you know, you got 7, you can add a 9, minor 7, you can add a 9 or a sharp 9, whatever. Major 7, you can add a 9. You can, you know, you could probably add a whatever, you know. We know that this is our 5, so 7 flat 9 sharp 5 would be like 7 flat 5 flat 9. They're all altered chords. 7 sharp 5 sharp 9. You know, and then once again we made this shape. Major 7 sharp 11. I think I've even read charts that had a minor 7 with a sharp 11. Or with an 11 actually, which would be more like that. And that would probably be more like that. Right, going back to this 3-note shape, dropping the 3rd, making it a minor 7, you know. I mean, oftentimes I might, if it's something like that, I might just add that 9 anyway, because it thickens the chord. Alright? Making sense? Mm-hmm. Now, the last little bonus little thing is people's minor 6s and 6s. If you're on your E string, there's your minor 7. So that's a flat 7, because the number 7 means flat 7, and minor 7 has a flat 3. That's the minor part. 7 means flat 7. That's part of the chord naming blog. Check it out, or video, or whatever, right? So the flat 7 goes down to 6. There's a minor 6. Right, here's our root note here. There's the flat 7 going down to the 6. There's our flat 3. You can put the 5 in that we talked about. Minor 6, minor 6. Alright? A natural 6 shape is if I played this 7 and I added this note, as we know that's our 13, that's a 13 chord. Because the 6 is above the flat 7. If we finger it like this, which is common, especially in some of the more early jazz, that's muted. Right? Also gives us that rhythm for that, you know, the dead string in there gives us that rhythmic thing. So I'm muting the one that's the flat 7 now. I've got 1, 5, dead string, the 3rd, 13. So that's not a 13 anymore, it's a 6, because it's not above a flat 7. So that's a 6 chord from there. And if you have, this is the most common shape of a 6. Just get a good shot of that, because that's just, you know, like people learn that as a 6. Although, you know, I mean, when you really get a bit freer and stuff, you know, when I used to play jazz and read jazz charts for a living, oftentimes you'll make shapes up that you've never played, and I used to sometimes sort of just hit those 3 for a 6 if I had lots of chords going, you know. So this is, you know, this is getting to be like out of levels 1, 2, and what do people have on the internet? Is it like level 10, level 5? I know people do with tutors. Someone was telling me.
Yeah, who knows?
This is not level, you know, this is, you know, intermediate to advanced for chords. So there you go. There's something worth looking at of how to put your extensions into your basic jazz chord shapes.
Beautiful.